My name is Matt Lees for VideogamerTV, and today I'd like to talk to you about something that I think is quite important. There's this guy on YouTube called KSI. You might have heard of him. He's got about 4 million subscribers. He's a pretty big deal. Fair enough. He's used for corporate gigs quite extensively now. This is a difference between traditional media and YouTubers. There's a lot of belief a lot of the time that traditional media are now somehow corrupt and their opinions are not worth having, whereas YouTubers represent this kind of fresh, new vision, untainted by the politics. And strictly speaking, this just isn't true. A lot of YouTubers now are kind of quite openly having these little deals and sponsorships. The whole thing is very fuzzy and very odd. You know what, that's another issue for another time. But the issue here is the fact that this guy seems to be getting a lot of corporate gigs from very family-friendly companies. He does a substantial amount of work with EA for FIFA. He's done stuff with BT Sports. He was sent out to cover E3 for Channel 5's The Gadget Show. And last night he was part of the live show to launch the Xbox One in London. And all of this would be completely fine if not for the fact that he's quite an unpleasant character. Now, a couple of years ago at the Eurogamer Expo, this guy went around talking to women, being, as he put it, awkward. And this involved asking women if you could motorboat them, and generally kind of asking them questions of a sexual nature. In his mind, it might have all been in jest, but he made quite a lot of people uncomfortable. This wasn't some seedy nightclub where you can go up to people and do what you want. It was a public area for about video games. It really had nothing to do with chatting up people or tits. Just to be clear about this though, a lot of the people who've defended his actions have really fixated on the motorboating thing and the fact that this girl gave him permission to motorboat her. You know what? That is the part of the video that I have the least problem with. It's a bit weird to go up and ask someone if you can motorboat them in a public place, sure. But it's more the fact that he went up to a promotional staff, working for Mountain Dew I believe, and asked her where her tits were.
Where have your tits gone?
Where have they gone?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Because I can't see them.
Funnily enough, this doesn't have anything to do with gender. This is just a very basic decency thing of not being a prick to people. I worked for many years as promotional staff, just like this girl, standing around trying to talk about products. It's a really rubbish job to have. And you know what? What makes that job worse is when people come and treat you like crap while you're doing it. Best case scenario, you're just as bad as the people who go to restaurants and click their fingers at waiters and think that being rude to staff is just part of what you're paying for on the bill. I can appreciate why people might think that, but you're still an awful human being who should probably be killed. Anyway, on a basic level, his behaviour at the show, whilst it may have been intended to be humorous, was quite clearly malicious and unpleasant, and Eurogamer thankfully had the good sense to then say that he was banned from the show for all future years. It's an open forum. People go and buy tickets to this thing. They want to see games. They don't want to be harassed. You know, it wasn't about the women in the video. It's just the fact that if you see that and then see that that behaviour is condoned, if you're a girl and you fancy going to like the Eurogamer Expo, you might feel a bit weird about doing that, knowing that it's acceptable for men just to come up to you and ask you where your tits are. It's just not, no. So yeah, the guy's massive on YouTube, he's got a lot of young fans, but he's just not acceptable for kind of, you know, more mainstream events. That's fine. That's just the way the world works. Not everything is for everyone. But then something strange happened in the fact that he started getting a lot of corporate gigs for lots of family-friendly brands and companies. And I mean, the main question here is why? But the crucial thing about this video that we need to clear up now, before you've already hit the dislike button and called me some variation of a fag, which, let's be honest, you've probably already done, is that this isn't about what I think, or it's not about what you think. It's about the way that brands use other brands to promote their brands. Because Microsoft aren't some sort of up-and-coming company. They're not rogue mavericks. You know, Microsoft as a company are not Danny Dyer. They have a corporate responsibility. You know, for years they've been selling something called Windows. And who buys Windows? Your mum and dad. Microsoft have always been a family brand. And now with the Xbox One, more than ever, they are really trying to push this whole angle. This isn't about teenage boy gamers anymore. This is about a family entertainment media system. You know, they've kind of abandoned us in many regards as kind of serious gamers. They're not going for us anymore. They're going for the mass market. They're going for everyone. And that's what makes it pretty unacceptable that they have aligned themselves with a guy who made himself famous on YouTube by popularizing something called rape face, where he just does a face to the camera that looks like he's about to rape you. I'm sorry, but even if you are kind of misguided enough to think that that's fine and that's cool, you probably aren't stupid enough to think that everyone would think that was okay. You know, you wouldn't switch on the Great British Bake Off and have someone take a tray of muffins out of the oven and then turn and do rape face. You just wouldn't. Why? Because not everybody thinks that that stuff is acceptable. And you know what? You might be like, fuck you, man. We think it's funny. You don't. You just don't understand how to take a joke. You don't understand jokes. Fine, whatever. But this isn't about us. This is about the corporate message to the world. They are trying to use this guy who clearly is not suitable for family-friendly companies and events to hawk their stuff. And why? Because he's got 4 million subscribers on YouTube, because he makes videos about FIFA. FIFA's big. They are basically taking a shortcut here. They know that they can attract a lot of very young people to buy a console and buy FIFA as part of big, happy deals, and they are counting on nobody noticing the fact that he's clearly not suitable. Now, a lot of you at this stage might be thinking, come on, Matt, this isn't a video about video games. You're supposed to be a channel about the games and the games industry, and that's fair, that's true. But the thing is, we have to look at every element of this. If we have a company or a publisher trying to pull the wool over our eyes with some dodgy marketing or some bullshit, then we are going to call them out on that. But this is another level of bullshit. This is a company using fairly seedy and dodgy marketing techniques in the hope that no one will notice. And they're right. Nobody does notice, because only people like me, people in the specialist games industry area, know that this guy is like this, and yet now he's on television. So if you are watching this video and you didn't know this, then do share it, because I personally find it pretty unacceptable that these family-friendly brand things keep giving money to a guy who has made his money off of rape face. Not cool. You might think that this stuff is cool, your friends might think that this stuff is cool, but you should know that Microsoft cannot align themselves with something like this. They cannot. And I've worked in PR for 2 years, and I know that the only reason they've used this guy as an onstage character to help sell their consoles is either because they haven't done their research and they don't know what kind of a guy he is, or they've looked at it, they've done the numbers, and they've decided that it's a risk worth taking. They've decided that getting that 4 million YouTuber subscriber audience, a real nice target market of FIFA players, young guys, they've decided it's worth trying to grab those guys and trying to get them to buy an Xbox One, because they probably won't get caught. Well, this is me trying to catch you. Sorry, Microsoft, but you fucked up, and it's about time that this guy stopped getting corporate family gigs. Again, apologies if you just come with funny stuff. Funny videos will resume shortly. If you have enjoyed this video and you do think it's a point that's worth sharing, I'd implore you to share the video. Thanks very much for watching. Bye!